Well, hey, I'm Timmy Riggs, and I am super passionate about getting people excited, inspired, and moving through the art of speaking. So in the meantime, if you have a camp or retreat or conference that I can help you with, I would sure love to be able to do that. So thank you so much for taking the time of watching my speaking demo, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.
And I can take courage, even though I have a tendency to live a fearful life, because the God of the universe put on skin and bone and said, I'm walking with you. I'm right here. I just feel my grace. Just feel my love. One step at a time. Yeah, but God, I'm going to sink. I know. And I still love you. And we're going to keep moving forward. I dare to say, who's to know, but from the day when I preach this message till the day I die, how many sinking moments am I going to have? I feel so much better knowing that, God, it's not up to me. It's not about how hard I try. It's not about how good I look, how much of the Bible I actually know. It's just me just trusting that you're enough. It's just you, Jesus. You're the only one that can get me to the other side. And in the meantime, I want you in my boat. I want to be more patient, more kind, more gentle. I don't want to sink for reasons that are meaningless. There was a young pastor, local church pastor, in early 1950s, who began to study this Jesus and say, hey, every time that Jesus came up with violence, he said, we're going to respond with peace. Every time Jesus faced hate, he said, we're going to respond with love. And so this pastor's reading that, studying that, and then he begins to look out in his community and notice, I'm not seeing a lot of indicators that that's breaking in. So what I'm going to do is day by day, I'm going to choose to be like Jesus. And before long, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is going across the country helping other people see that there is a whole nother reality, a whole nother world, and a whole nother life that's breaking into ours. And the people around him beginning to see, maybe there is more to life than what I see. Martin, is that you? Can we be a part of this? Can we walk with you? And he goes, hey, yeah, but let me tell you something. We're going to be hard pressed. We are going to be persecuted, and we're going to be struck down. So get ready for that. But if you believe me and you trust me, just like I'm trusting Jesus, just like Paul says, hey, follow me while I follow Jesus, he says, we're going to achieve something so much greater. So this week, as we celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King Day, I began to think, what if I just had a minute? What if God graced me with, whether it's a phone call or sitting across from him or whatever, what would I want to ask? And it's an obvious question, but you just begin to think, hey, would you do it again? Was it worth it? And I think he would look at me and he'd say, if you could see what I now see, on this side of eternity, would I do it again? I was shot and killed at 39 years old. I left my babies. I left my wife. I left the organization and the ministry that I was leading. Would I do it again? Without a doubt. Because what I was doing, Tim, what I was doing far outweighed all the troubles that I was going into. The way that God was breaking in was changing hearts, changing minds. We went through a lot. We were persecuted. I died for it. Would I do it again? I would double down. I would get arrested even more. I would speak more. I would love harder. I would do it again without even blinking, because on this side of eternity, I can promise you there is something under the surface. It is a reality that is breaking in, but we have to shift. We have to shift our soul to be the people that say, what I see, there's more than meets the eye. I have friends. You might be surprised to know. But I do, and we kind of give each other adjectives, positive adjectives. And my favorite one for some of the people in our friend group is the adjective of the enhancer. This is the person that they come into the room and they enhance it. They light it up when they come in, not when they leave, right? They make us feel better just because, why? They're not there to show us how strong they are, everything they know. They're not there to gossip. They're not there to be negative at all. Usually they're there to ask me about me, how my week's going, how they can be praying for me. They're just enjoyable. They are the people that I want to be most around, and they're the people I want to be most like. I think Jesus was an enhancer, and as I started thinking about it, I was like, oh my goodness, all those people, one of the underlining common denominators is that, from what I've learned about meekness, is that they're all meek. And I will tell you right now, they are not weak people. They're some of the strongest I know. I barely graduated high school. Like, on the night of, I am walking out of the tunnel, and I'm like, they're going to tell me, like, not today, buddy. Like I was that nervous. I can't remember my GPA. It was pathetic. So when I get out of high school, I'm like, things are going to change. And I don't know why, but I was called to SNU. Like, I just kind of was like, I should go to Southern Nazarene University. And I had never even been here. Honestly, I could not have told you where Oklahoma was on the map. Like, and it makes sense because I barely graduated high school. And so I had never seen the campus before. And so my dad and I, we drive out in my truck, and I don't know, like, if the movies had distorted what I expected of a university, but as we're driving, it's late, and so he told me, like, hey, we're just going to kind of pull up to the university. I'm expecting to drive on to, like, Professor Xavier's, like, School for Mutants, like, huge building, lawn, kids outside, like, that's what I'm expecting. So we're driving down 39th here. It's late at night, and my dad's like, hey, there it is. There it went, right? Like that. I was like, oh. My first semester of college. So I'm sure but GPAs range from 1 to 4. 4 is like perfect, and 1 is not. And mine started with a 0. Not kidding you. 0.6 was my GPA of college. I am literally a standing miracle this morning, okay? It is miraculous I don't do drugs. So, and we're going to get to you brought a friend, you're like, I swear we'll talk about the Bible in a minute. I don't know. Maybe. He's never preached before. I'm thinking about meekness, and I'm like, what does it mean? Am I meek? Maybe. Honestly, is it gentleness? Is it kindness? Is it kind of stepping out of the way? I'm not really sure. So my wife's sitting next to me. At this point, she now knows that I'm going to be preaching, and so I said, hey, I'm going to be talking about meekness. And honestly, I think I'm kind of meek. I think I'm a meek person. What do you think? She takes no time to think about it. She was completely prepared for her answer. She didn't even take a breath. She was like, no, not at all. You're not meek. I don't think that you're meek. I'm like, how could you say that? I'm deeply hurt and offended, right? Feeling like we need to go to counseling. Like I didn't know that you thought this about me, right? So I'm getting close to, docking this boat. So let me take a seat, talk to you from my heart. Maybe this sermon has encouraged you. I hope that it has. As I was working on it, it encouraged me. But then also as I'm working through it, I'm like, God, I can't preach this. I'm going to be a huge hypocrite. And as I just continue to work on it, I'm like, this is impossible. Literally, Monday, I probably did all this stuff, but then I knew I was preaching, so I had to be good, right? But God, I don't know if we can live into this. And through that prayer, I feel like God, revealed to me, oh man, you're right. You can't. I'm like, God, it's impossible. And he's like, yeah. But then he also reminded me that nothing's impossible with him. And it's not a cliche. Like it's not just a churchy thing to say. Like, it matters, and we say it because throughout time and throughout history, we've seen it happen through Scripture and through our own lived experiences. And so right there, I was like, oh, okay. Oh, thank you. And then it was another reminder where he was like, hey, a lot of times you'll focus on the to-do. And I've just given you 20 minutes of to-do, so don't write that off. But like you're focusing on the to-do. What if instead you focus on what I've already done? How about that? This is a love not enabled by effort, but a love enabled by grace.